Good evening. Tonight we're looking at Genesis chapter 6, and it has to be one of the most difficult sections of the Bible to translate because some of the words in this Bible chapter are so rare, but also it's one of the strangest. And I think you'll see what I mean as we begin in verse 1. When men began to multiply on the face of the ground and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were fair, and they took to wife such of them as they chose. Now, who are the sons of God and who are the daughters of men? Well, there have been different theories and ideas about this for many different years, ranging from the very dramatic to the more mundane. Case in point, some have thought that the sons of God referenced here were some sort of celestial being, not human, but a celestial entity that when they looked at the earth and saw the women of the earth and thought they were so good looking, they knew they had to intermarry with them. And the product of these unions were the Nephilim, a race of giants. That was one idea. Something that's probably more likely is the idea that the sons of God were people that came through the lineage of Seth. Remember, Adam and Eve had three sons. First, they had Cain and Abel had offered his first fruits from his crops to God, and that was pleasing to God. Abel gave some of the firstborn lambs from his flock, and Cain gave just some of his harvest, and Abel's offering was pleasing to God. Cain's was not accepted. In the end, Cain, out of jealousy, killed Abel, and Cain was banished. And then later on, Adam and Eve had another son called Seth. And so the lineage through Seth was seen as people of God. They were still in close relationship with God and walking with God and maintaining that. And then the daughters of men were the ones who came from the lineage through Cain. Cain took things on his own. He killed his brother, and so he left God. He left his family and he left God. And so these would be people through a foreign religion, people who were disconnected with God. And so that makes more sense, not only because it's hard to fathom some sort of kind of ET or heavenly being intermarrying with a human woman and producing a race of giants. That seems unlikely. But what does seem likely is the idea that problems arise when the people of God intermarry with foreign people. And the problem isn't the people who are foreign, that foreign status, being from a different country or different race. That's not the problem. The problem is people of God intermarrying with people who serve a multitude of gods. Over and over throughout the Old Testament, we see the problems that the Hebrew people get into when they try to merge their religion with the religion of others, pagan religions, several different gods. It never works and it never goes well for the Hebrew people. And so that seems a far more likely explanation of this passage that we really don't know what it means. So another thing that really stands out is this idea that the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were fair or pleasing to the eye, and they took them to be their wives. So there's this theme. They saw them, saw that it was pleasing, and they took them. Now, this gets them in trouble, just like it got Eve in trouble in Genesis chapter 3. Eve saw the fruit of the tree, saw that it was pleasing and desirable, and she took it and she ate it. Now, when you see something and you're tempted by it, it looks attractive, and then you just take it, there's no thought process. It really is one of the most basic actions and processes we go through whenever someone brings home a baby from the hospital. They have a newborn, they baby proof the house, because as soon as that child becomes a toddler and starts moving around, what happens? Anything that toddler sees that's attractive to them, they take. Well, if we never grow out of that immature, self-centered kind of way of living, we're going around led by greed, led by our own desires, and we put ourselves before anyone else. And that isn't the way we're called to live. And so continuing on in verse 3, then the Lord said, "My spirit shall not abide in man forever." And this phrase is very rarely used, and so it's very difficult to understand. My spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh, but his days shall be 120 years. I'm not really sure what that means, but one of the things that we see after this phrase is that we don't have people living 800 and 900 years. And so part of this phrase, his days shall be 120 years, really refers to the lifespan. Verse 4, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward. Nephilim is another word that is almost impossible to translate because it's so rarely used, and so we really don't know what it means. These were the mighty men that were of old, the men of renown. The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. When we don't walk in the ways of God, it grieves God, just as a parent is grieved when their child kind of wanders off the path. And we're going to start there. I've gone long this evening. We'll start back up and we'll enter into the story of Noah tomorrow evening. See you then.